everybody? How we all doing? It is the Who Cares Anyway podcast, and I just noticed that I'm sadly a little out of sync with myself. God damn it. Just once. Just once can I start this show correctly. No, it must be like the Muppets, where everything always starts awkward. Give me 1 second, I want to fix that, guys. Hi, my name is Chris Dohmen. I hope you are all having a wonderful Friday. I'm here with, of course, Kees, Cornelisse, from the Netherlands. How's it going, man?
Well, it's Friday night and I'm wearing my robe. It has to be a live show, right?
It has to be a live show. Exactly.
Of course. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Got off work a few hours ago. Just shot a reaction that's about to go up. Shameless plug. Check it out. And yeah, just here to relax and talk some movies and shit.
Exactly. Ryan sadly can't be with us this weekend as he had to get called to serve at, I believe, Fort Bragg in blanking which state exactly that is right now. But Ryan, cheers to you, man. Thanks for everything you do, and hopefully we'll see you next week. And thank you for being on our awesome Slipknot reaction from Halloween night, which for everybody who gave that a watch and gave it a like, thank you so much. You are all awesome. And it was a little experiment. It was a fun little experiment, and I think we're going to do more of those. Like more just reaction videos to like new songs that drop that might interest Ryan and myself, or if there's a new trailer that drops that looks really good. I can see Case, Ryan, and I easily doing a quick one for that.
We already did some things. We reacted to like the Rebels trailer once, and like reactions to like trailers or indeed songs if we're interested in it. Like the channel is called Dedicated to Art. We are dedicated to all kinds of art, not just movies. Of course, movies is our main passion, but we also watch TV shows. We listen to music. We just appreciate art. We're dedicated. Get it? It's in the name.
There we go. There we go. But yeah.
No. Wait.
Please.
Let me rephrase. We're dedicated to art.
My man.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So again, everybody, thank you so much. And for the new fans who might be tuning in for the first time, we probably won't get into as much music stuff. I will. There are some episodes though that I'll get into that in future episodes, and I actually have some contacts with some fairly well known artists, and one of them I do have lined up for next year already. Probably in February, I'll be sitting down with some old friends of mine who, a long time ago, back when their band was just signed and getting huge, I opened up for them, and that was a fucking amazing show. But until we get to that, Case, how's your week been, man?
How's my week been? Well, I had the afternoon shift, so my days were essentially gone because I start at 2 in the afternoon and then I have to work to 10 at night. So yeah, my entire evening/afternoon was just gone, and then I would just stay up for a few more hours because, well, actually, you started playing a certain game a few weeks ago that reminded me, hey, I have a good account in that. For anyone who knows the game, it's called RuneScape. And we're not talking about the new shitty version that they changed a million times, which I don't like. No, I'm talking about the original version. They've made a version of old school RuneScape back how the game was in 2007. And I actually used to play this game back in 2007 when I was in high school with my friends. And it still is a fun game. I still like to play it. So yeah, after I got home from work and after I got off, because I always Skype with my girlfriend a little bit, I would get on Skype with you and we would just play the game because it's just fun. So yeah, I've started playing that again. So that's fun.
Yes, and to build off that, like what caused that, guys, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think I'm in the middle of my quarter life crisis. So,
amen to that.
Amen to that, indeed. I mean, I've been really nostalgic for a lot of shit lately, and RuneScape being one of those things because back in like 2004 when the game was first taken off. That was when I got into it, and I had this account that was very reflective of my fandom of Star Wars. I even remember my old account name. My old account name was Anakin Sith 2. I got to I think I got all the way to like level 56, and then I just lost time to play the game, which sucks because I was balling. I had a full rune set and everything. Like I was just missing trim, but
Rune set. What a noob. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it was a different time back then. Like, a lot of these like fancy members' armors and whatnot, and all these new members' weapons. Like, the coolest thing that was out when I was playing the game was this like crystal whip. Like, that was the newest, that was the hottest thing that everybody had that I couldn't because
they've definitely improved the weapon since.
So I have seen, and I wasn't really there for when the Grand Exchange showed up in Varrock, and I wasn't there for some of the new quests that popped up.
The Grand Exchange was introduced like a few years ago, about 2 years ago, in old school RuneScape. They made that for this version. They did that because it was a pain in the ass standing outside the bank where everyone was lined up like, I'm looking for this or I'm selling this. It was just like there would be millions upon millions of people, especially in the busier worlds, people trying to sell their stuff. Now you have the Grand Exchange. It's not that difficult.
And I still don't know how to figure it out. So, which is funny because you put me in the New York Stock Exchange, I could be able to figure that shit out, no problem.
This is easier.
Hey, what can I say? I like to overthink things. That's just the way that my brain functions or doesn't function. But a quick rundown of what we're gonna do tonight. I'm actually gonna do another film review.
Yay.
This time for Bohemian Rhapsody. The new film directed by the director version of Kevin Spacey, let's just say. Then going into a bunch of movie news, and there will be some rants. Oh yes, there will be some rants.
Oh yeah. I know exactly. What news story you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh boy.
And it's gonna be fun. And then after that, in honor of Bohemian Rhapsody, we are doing a conversation about movies about musicians. And I think tonight I'm gonna keep it. I'll personally keep it a little more towards the biopic side of things because
I won't.
And to be fair, and nor would I ask you because kind of like with the dumb action movies thing. This is a multi-part conversation because there are so many great films about musicians that really gets into what it is that makes a lot of
different types of films also.
Exactly.
Like some films really focus more on the music side, and some films focus more on the personal side, like the life behind the artist. So.
Exactly. So, and as we're going, guys. Throw in some movies of some of your favorites, and chances are, because I like to, I like to think I'm engaging in something of a conversation with everybody. I'll probably
one can dream.
I'll probably give my thoughts on whatever movies you guys bring up. So, that being said, let's talk about what everybody predicted would be an Oscar bait instant. I don't think so.
An instant hit.
It's going to be a huge financial hit, and I will say let me get into this properly. Bohemian Rhapsody is the new film directed by Bryan Singer, who still is officially credited, even though Fox has officially stated that they have no more business that they will ever do with Mr. Singer due to several rape allegations that were given last year, which, hey, you know what? Good on you, Fox. Good on you. So stars,
but art from the artist,
exactly,
separated.
Exactly. But and to be fair, that has no effect on my opinion of this film because I thoroughly enjoy this film.
Thank you.
It might crack my top 10. I'll probably have to catch it one more time, in addition to seeing whatever else, all the other Oscar stuff that's coming out. But for sure, Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury is one of the best biopic performances I've seen in my entire lifetime.
Well, we got a nom?
Yes.
Cool.
The only reason that he wouldn't is
The
to
controversy.
exactly to set an example of singing,
To
which
be fair, Brian, what am I saying? Baby Driver still got 3 nominations.
that's true. And Christopher Plummer got a nomination in spite of Kevin Spacey for All the Money in the World. So
Yep.
yes, if this doesn't wind up being this year's Wind River, which should have just gotten all the nominations last year, but to set an
Yeah.
example of the Weinsteins, they said no. But Rami Malek gives he is Freddie. Not only does he just look like Freddie, not only does he sing like Freddie, he actually has just the little mannerisms, the little quirks where and Freddie Mercury was a very outgoing personality, shall we say. Who
Well, yeah.
and there was a reason they were called Queen after all.
I mean, have you seen "I Want to Break Free" the video clip? Come on.
Great song, and they actually show a couple scenes of the band doing that video, and it's amazing.
That's awesome.
And I'm gonna spoil the fuck out of this movie just because, look, there are no
No,
surprises here.
don't spoil it for me.
It's a biopic.
It already happened.
Exactly. And by all accounts, this movie is, I'd say, about 90% accurate as to how everything actually happened.
Oh, that's good.
And the performances, fan-fucking-tastic. Starting in 1973 with the songs like "Keep Yourself Alive," and then we move on to 1975, where we have this great. This sort of great side story about how the song Bohemian Rhapsody was actually written. And how it all came together with the members of the band. And when I say the members of the band, I'm for a second I keep forgetting, oh wait, that's right, these are actors, not Brian May, John Deacon, and Roger Taylor, because the actors portraying them are all so perfectly in character. Also, fun fact,
Nice.
Kees, John Deacon, the bass player, he's played by Tim from Jurassic Park.
The young boy?
Yeah.
Wow. Where has he been?
Great question. Apparently, he's in Bohemian Rhapsody. So
seriously, that movie's 25 years old.
Yeah. And his career just never really took off.
No. Well, he's here.
He's here, and he does a fantastic job. I mean, he really learned how to play bass, and he's great at it. The actor who played Brian May, just a shredder on the guitar, woo. Roger Taylor, the actor that got to play him, was also fantastic. Great sort of feud he'd set up with Freddie Mercury, which that was their real life relationship. They were a family. They all got along. They were all talented together. But
well, if you're in a band for so long, you should be.
Exactly. But like any family, you're gonna have fights. You're gonna have scuffles, and I'll talk about this a little bit, and once we get into the main conversation, because I'll give a little bit of my story with some of my band experiences, but I think I might wait till I actually have my old bandmates in studio to talk about that as well. And trust me, we can share some horror stories. My only quote unquote gripe with this movie is there's a certain subplot that I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but I've seen it done better in a different movie that I will, again, bring up in the main part of the conversation. And like I said, I'll just save it for then. But overall, the performances are fantastic. The camera work is incredible. Some of the supporting cast, they're so amazing in their own unique way. Like, for example, Mike Myers, the comedian, makes a small role but very important role that you do he's unrecognizable. He's completely unrecognizable in this film.
Nice.
So, I actually am going to give Bohemian Rhapsody a 7.8 out of 10. Like I said,
that's pretty good score.
There were a couple elements that did drag it down a little bit, but the rest of it was just so strong.
I have one question because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I really do want to see it as a big Queen fan, actually. Um, how is the use of their songs throughout the movie?
Perfect.
Nice.
Like,
That's really important.
well, and actually, and before we get to the news, go off that for just 2 seconds. One of the important things about a musical is that the music has to help tell the story.
Yes,
Every song, in my opinion, every song is used to further tell the story of Queen's rise to fame.
that's really good. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll say I haven't seen it yet. I will. I don't know when I'll see it. I really want to see it because, well, like I'm not usually into my type of music usually is more house and trance, DJ type stuff. What I listen to. However, I do love Queen, and they're probably my favorite band. If there's any band that could earn that title, because seriously, they have been so amazing, and the fact that last year I watched Baby Driver and I was still introduced to a song that had never heard of, and I listened to Brighton Rock, and it was like, wow, this song is amazing. They also did that. That's amazing. The fact that I'm still discovering songs that I still think are amazing. Most of their music is amazing, and well, Bohemian Rhapsody is probably their best. Uh, of course, everyone has their own opinion, but yeah, it's probably their best. That's why it's called like this. So yeah, I really want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, and also, to double down on the title use one more time, like what the reason, and I think, yes, to be fair, the reason they call it Bohemian Rhapsody is because it's essentially it was their defining moment of them as a
Yes.
band. And not just the song itself, but everything surrounding the song, the album that you know made them who they are, as well as the fact that when it was first released, people forget this. That record was hated,
Hmm.
and now Bohemian
Well,
Rhapsody is regarded as one of the greatest songs of all time.
oh, I actually do want to say something about that. Every single year, for about 20 years already, here in the Netherlands, a radio station at the end of the year does a top 2000 that people vote on, and they do like the top 2000 voted songs. And they start on Boxing Day, so the day after Christmas, and they end exactly just before 12 o'clock on December 31st, so that, of
Nice.
course, you go into the new year having finished the top 2000. And most of the time, at number one voted is Bohemian Rhapsody. And if it's not number one, it's number two.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
That is like how you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Maybe one of these years I'll come over to Holland just so that like, I'll be there at like 11:50 on New Year's Eve, and then
And
is this the
yeah,
real life?
exactly.
That would be that would make my life right there. That's awesome. All
Exactly.
right, so let's get into some news. Finally, so I do apologize for the tangents, but I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and it's actually nice to learn a few things about a band that I always respected, but only liked a certain amount of their catalog.
And you never knew the full story.
Exactly, I learned something.
Yes.
So yeah, now let's get into some DC, some news that I actually think might be good for this franchise, at least for the Birds of Prey movie. Yeah, it's funny. In the notes, I said Gotham City Sirens, but I totally meant to say Birds of Prey. My bad. Ewan McGregor has been signed on to join the cast of Birds of Prey as the main antagonist, Black Mask. Now, for those who aren't fully aware, Black Mask is one of the biggest crime bosses in all of Gotham. He's one of the best known crime bosses in the entirety uh, of DC Comics. Like, he is actually one of the few crime bosses in that world who could be considered a legitimate threat to the Joker, as far as his criminal reputation. So
Yeah, like his criminal network.
exactly, like if to use a Godfather comparison, sorry, Case, but if
okay.
if the Joker is Vito Corleone, Black Mask is Don Bartini, who is a fellow crime boss who's pretty powerful in his own right, but he's always sort of in the shadow of the Joker. So now who are you gonna cast besides, a very talented actor who doesn't really play villains that much?
He doesn't. He usually plays the good guy.
So, Case, as a fellow Ewan McGregor fan,
Yeah,
are
definitely.
you interested to see him take on a more antagonistic role?
Here's the thing: I just want to see Ewan McGregor in everything. He is a great actor. I know that he can act his way through everything. Because look, Chris, I don't care what you think about the prequels; they're bad movies, but he is great in them. In all three of them, as much garbage as I think that Attack of the Clones is, Ewan McGregor still pulls off a great fucking performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi in those movies. And I'm like, he is great. I don't care what you think about Moulin Rouge. He is great in it. And he is great in essentially everything he does. So I don't care what he's in. I just want to see him perform in movies because I think he's great. Now, unfortunately, this has the name of DC or Worlds of DC. Look, renaming your franchise is not going to save your franchise, so shut up. It's DC stupid shit that doesn't work, that hasn't worked for years, and it's not going to work for years. That's the unfortunate thing about this. He is once again joining something that is crashing and burning. I mean, to be fair, he crashed, the Star Wars prequels crashed and burned with him. He started with them, but... So I'm really conflicted. I want to see him in a movie, and I want to I don't care what it is. I just want to see him in anything, and I think regardless of what this movie will be, he will be great in it. It's just the movie will probably suck, and that sucks. So yeah, just Ewan McGregor, please sign on for good stuff and be good in things because I love you. If you're watching this, probably not.
Probably not, but hey. I think he'd appreciate what you're trying to say, and plus, otherwise, push comes to shove, it'll be a hell of a paycheck for him. So maybe he'll be able to do another Men Who Stare at Goats kind of movie. Which, God, I love that movie. So, I'm just gonna give my quick thoughts on this one. I'm excited because I love him as an actor, but that doesn't make me any more excited for the film. Because this film has the potential to prove me wrong, and I hope it does, but I don't think it will. Sorry, guys. Yes, DC lovers, give me your hate.
Send us your tweets.
Send us your tweets, baby. The only bad press is no press.
Oh yeah, the tears. Let me swallow your tears. Yum 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 yum. Yes. Please, all the tears, all the tweets. I eat them. I eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
See, now, I would say something to the effect of, why the fuck do you bother? But then again, I'm not one to talk because...
Yes, exactly. DC,
what?
DC...
Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
Single most overrated Best Picture winner of all time. It's not Crash. It's not A Beautiful Mind. But it stars Russell Crowe. It came out in 2000.
No.
It was directed by an otherwise, fair director who's had some hits and misses.
He's a really good director.
Fucking Gladiator 2 in development.
Oh boy.
With Ridley Scott directing. Never mind the fact that there's the people who are confused that are going to be like, oh, I don't know why you're doing this movie because in the first movie Russell Crowe died, spoiler alert. But, motherfucker, the fact that this movie is going to exist and it's going to make money because you motherfuckers just love Gladiator. You love Joaquin Phoenix and his stupid over-the-top acting. You love What's-Her-Face and her sympathetic, oh, I'm sleeping with my brother, but I feel bad for this gladiator. Oh. And this score, it's so poetic and dramatic and beautiful. Ah. Shut up. This movie's pretentious. It is dull. It's so stupid. And I don't care. Why is this movie being made? It's too little, too late. Done.
Chris, I guess that I could say you were not entertained.
No.
Boy and a half.
Actually, you know what? Okay, like before I get too crazy, like Kees, I take it. Have you?
No. Here, I will just give my thoughts. I have seen the first Gladiator once. I thought it was a good movie. Russell Crowe gives a great performance. It's a well-directed sword and sandals movie. The fact that it won Best Picture, I'm like, is that deserved? Sure, whatever. Everyone loves it, though. This is also the reason why I watched it, because everyone loves it, and it's like highly rated everywhere, so like at one point you have to see it. I haven't had the urge to go back to it, though. I should probably at one point. I definitely have to, because Irina hasn't seen it yet, and we watch like a lot of stuff together that like I have seen maybe once and that she hasn't seen, just to make sure that we are like on the same page.
Well, there, Irina. Now you and Kees have a great date night.
No, here's the thing. Gladiator is not a bad movie. It's not. It might be a little overrated, but it's definitely not bad. And it's well made in every sense. Like, it has a good cast, good acting, good directing, whatnot. It got a shit ton of Oscars, and it got that for a reason. Chris, you're the odd one out. You can hate on this movie all you want. That's fine. You know, everyone has those movies that like everyone loves and that you don't like. In my case, like, it's The Godfather. I know it's blasphemy, but the thing is, Chris and Gladiator is me and The Godfather, and it's like every person has that one movie, that one Best Picture that is loved by essentially everyone except for you. Well, about the sequel, why is this happening? We're 18 years later. I don't know when this movie would even come out, but this is too late. The cast is old. Have you seen Russell Crowe lately? He's old and fat. He can't. Oh wait, and he died, by the way, in the first movie. What the fuck is he like? He's not gonna do anything. So what the fuck is the story gonna be like? Like, Russell Crowe made that first movie. He won fucking Best Actor for that performance. What are you gonna do? Like, I really don't know what you're gonna do with the sequel story. This is a cash grab for the sake of being a cash grab because the first one was popular, and people are like, "Oh my god, I want my Gladiator!" Yeah, sure. There's no story to tell, in my personal opinion. This is way too late. Also, have you seen Ridley Scott's directing lately? It has not been that great, even though like. I love Prometheus, I really do, and Covenant is fine, I guess. He directed an Oscar-nominated movie last year, though. Ridley Scott.
All the Money in the World.
All the Money in the World. Okay, so at least he made that. But like Exodus, I believe he also did. Oh wait, he did do The Martian, which was great.
Yes.
So his directing, especially in recent years, has been really questionable, and I think that he's just doing this for the sake of doing a cash grab. Now, if you would have said Denis Villeneuve is doing it, sign me the fuck up, because any Denis Villeneuve movie that is a sequel to a Ridley Scott original, yes, I don't care what it is, yes, just do it.
Yes, and to be honest, that's where I could get on board. If it was a different director who wanted to tell a different story but set it in the same timeline as Gladiator, bam, sign me up.
Then it could work, but I just don't think Ridley Scott has enough to make this movie succeed. So I'm not looking forward to it. I really am not.
Me neither. And I'm not just saying this to be a hater. I'm saying this because there was a time and a place to get this movie off the ground, to get it developed, and to get it made.
It was 15 years ago.
It was, I would say at the very latest, it was 10 years ago. At the absolute latest. So,
Okay, Irina has like the best fucking idea to actually make this movie kind of good. Make Gladiator and Alien crossover. Add a xenomorph to it. It would be awesome. Yes, it would be. I applaud that idea.
Arena, this is why we like you. So,
Yes.
but okay, that was my fun. Now we're gonna talk about something that I'm very happy about, which I was gonna make a big tirade about how news is just superhero movies and Star Wars these days, and we're gonna go against that for 2 seconds. But I'm not gonna come out with this attitude. I'm coming at this with the attitude of, thank God, worldwide cinema is now truly starting to take effect, and it's starting to have an impact on not just the culture of its country of origin, but it could have an impact on cultures of surrounding this entire globe. Because
Well, if you look at like recent hits like Black Panther and Wonder Woman, you see how that influences stuff. Regardless of what you think of the movie, just how it has influenced it, and just because of the fact that it's represented in a big blockbuster movie, well, that's a thing.
exactly, and here's where it gets even better, for at least for this next film. This is not a blockbuster. This is just the little film that is currently the #1 grossing film in Poland, and it's called Clergy. So by the title, you can figure out that it's a movie that is gonna take a lot of shots at the Catholic Church, Catholicism,
Please
spirituality,
do.
and religion, which, but by my understanding, though, it does do so in a way that's still fair towards the people who don't,
Do believe.
to those who do believe, and to those who don't participate in the, frankly speaking, gross activities that a lot of Catholic priests and archbishops. Spotlight, exactly. So this is essentially Spotlight, but from the perspective of the rest of the world, particularly here in Poland. And it's finally making its rounds here in America.
That's
like
good.
I said, #1 film in Poland. It is doing stupidly well across other parts of Europe. This movie, this could be the dark horse of the Oscars.
Best foreign film.
Best foreign film automatically, and I'll even dare say it could, if it gets enough critics behind it, it could go for Best Picture.
That would be something.
That would be stupidly interesting.
I would love that, to be honest, because like I don't really I don't believe. I'm an atheist. I've been outspoken about that. I don't discredit anyone for believing. If you believe, that's your opinion. That's fine. Everyone has their own beliefs, of course. However, yes, the Catholic Church has made some really big mistakes over the past couple of years, and yes, it does need to be brought to light. I'm not the biggest fan of Spotlight, but I did love their portrayal of what actually happened, because it's definitely a story that should be told, I think. And I'm very happy that now more films are also doing it. I also think Spotlight helped there to make sure, like, guys, we can show this shit, because this is shit that you need to show, because if the world doesn't know about this, it will be like put behind everything and like will not be spoken about, but it should be spoken about because it's an important issue, and we can't have this continue. And it's just one of many things that I think the Catholic Church, I'm not saying anything against the religion, but I'm saying something against the church. Yeah, they're majorly fucking up with certain things, and it needs to be shown.
Exactly. And to okay, all right. I'll botch this, but so forgive me, everybody. To anybody who's from Poland who's watching this, sorry. Wojciech Smartowski, congratulations,
Not
sir. Congratulations, and please, guys, if you have the ability to check this movie out, please do it. Because as soon as it's here in Minnesota, I'm getting a ticket, because I want to see this movie. I loved Spotlight, and
It's a great movie.
As a member of a family who does actually have a lot of Catholic roots, but also sees the negative side of said beliefs at
Heck,
times.
you work in the church.
Well, to be fair, it's not a Catholic church; it's a non-denominational, which
Mm.
that does make a difference. Believe it
I
or
know.
not,
I know.
and I've sadly just seen too many bad examples of Catholicism to fully get behind it. Although I do feel that there are people who do take their faith and they use it for a good purpose, which in that case, you'll always get a free pass from me. I will always say good on you and keep doing what you're doing. But for those who keep taking their power and they keep abusing it, time's up. Hashtag time's up.
Yep.
So, the only person that you have to pray to now is God.
It's the only one you can pray to.
Exactly. So after that little fun bit of serious discussion, let's get back to something fun.
Yay!
And this is something I'm very happy about. So one of my favorite movies of recent years is, big shock, Frozen. I
Same.
fucking adore this movie. It's timeless, but it's so timely, especially with when it came out, because it did what no Disney film before it had done, which was, deconstruct the original Disney formula, and when I do it well. Sorry, Enchanted fans. Sorry. But it also stayed true to the Disney formula by still taking us to a brand new place.
It's still a Disney princess.
Exactly. And we're following likable characters who are good people. Even though Elsa has her moments, but
she's good at heart.
She's good at heart. Same with Anna. She is naive as all fuck, but
yep.
She's still a great character.
You can't marry someone you met just now. No, that's so true.
So true. Fuck all the haters. I love Olaf. So.
Oh, Olaf is so good. Josh Gad, he's the man.
Even though, admittedly, my favorite character in the movie is probably Kristoff. But anyway, on to what the actual story is. Disney just announced that Frozen 2 is actually going to be bumped up a week to November 22nd, 2019, as opposed to its original release date of November 29th, 2019. And hey, seeing as how that's the same week of my birthday, I'm stoked.
Nice. That's a good birthday present.
That is a great birthday present.
Now, I do have to say, while I love the movie Frozen, I am so getting sick of all the millions upon millions of toys and just Frozen is on everything these days. It's everywhere. I also I saw the short Frozen Fever. It was fine.
Oh yeah, okay. That one was fine.
Then I saw the short of I think it was Olaf's Christmas Adventure or something in front of Coco, a 21-minute short that was about bullshit at the end. Yeah, I mean it's a nice message for kids, whatnot. Who the fuck cares? It was bullshit, and the fact that it was 21 fucking minutes long. That I had to sit through that because in order to see Coco, you have to sit through that entire fucking short, and that was annoying as all hell. Because especially if you then get the greatest Pixar movie since Inside Out, yeah, that was. So, while I'm a little worried that they might not be able to pull off a Frozen 2 as well as I hope they will. I still have hopes for the movie, and I still love the first one, and I hope they can make something great again.
Exactly, and I have every confidence in the team because it's the same team as last time. I am worried, though, about one thing, because we still don't have any details about the story. Now, granted, I'm not expecting any details until, probably May or June of next year. But I do feel like, unless it's something that truly just is not mind-blowing, because Disney films rarely do that ever these days, but unless it's something that's really interesting, I'm just worried it's going to be boring. That's I'm not saying it will on principle, but I'm scared because I love this movie. Plus, if that social media campaign of give Elsa a girlfriend is actually successful, I mean, I can't say it wouldn't be interesting if it's done correctly. So we'll see.
We shall see indeed.
Yes. So moving on to our second to last story for this evening before we hop into the main topic. This is interesting. So a couple weeks ago, it was announced that Loki and Scarlet Witch were going to be getting their own miniseries with Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen respectively reprising their roles for the Disney streaming service coming out next year. Now, they're not the only MCU regulars getting their own miniseries. It was just announced this week that our dear old Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie, and Winter Soldier, played by Sebastian
Stan. Not Sebastian Shaw, who is the actor of Anakin Skywalker in Return of the Jedi.
I know.
By the way, Sebastian Stan does look an awful lot like Luke Skywalker.
Hashtag put him in the Mandalorian. Please. I can dream.
First, just get Sabine and Bo-Katan in there, then we'll see. Please.
Tia Sarkar, Katie Sackhoff, Favreau, make it happen.
Make it happen.
Okay, so Falcon and Winter Soldier announced to get their own respective miniseries as well for the Disney streaming service. I'm excited. Because of the two side characters that actually I do want to learn more about, these are the two.
Bucky and Falcon?
Believe it or not, yes. Especially Bucky. Because
Bucky is just extremely intriguing.
Exactly.
There's literally 80 or 90 years of history there, unexplored.
And, and to be fair...
70, my bad.
70, yes. And we don't need a movie to cover that.
No, because that would be boring.
That would be boring. And plus, they'd have to streamline too much of it. But if you give us a series that maybe at times can push that R rating, but not obviously go into it because it's Disney, but it can push how far you can go in terms of telling his story. This is fascinating. This is some really fascinating stuff that I want to get to. And Falcon, there's actually a really interesting reason why. Is it because we know nothing about him before he met up with Cap?
Nothing. No, we see him first in Winter Soldier, and at first we're like, oh, he's just a guy who likes running. Then throughout the movies you learn a lot more about him, but you learn so much about him that you're like, so what did happen? So yeah. Would be interesting.
And I'm gonna take a little bit of assumption that is the story that we're gonna get. So if that is the case, are you gonna join me on my excitement train, or?
I'm not that excited for it, and that's mainly because I've been the biggest fan of either Bucky, Cap, or Falcon ever in this universe, and I still am not. I think, especially in the case of Chris Evans makes me like Captain America. Captain America itself, the character is dull, and I don't care for him, and I don't want to see him anywhere. Chris Evans makes that character. Also, the Russos, what they did with Winter Soldier and improved the character is amazing. So the Russos and Chris Evans made that character, not the character itself. To me personally, the fact and Bucky and Falcon are his friends. Now, the characters that I've seen in these movies, other than that, I can't really say that I care that much about them. My favorites have always been the people around Iron Man, because he's my favorite character. Of course.
Of course.
So yeah. And now I'm getting booed at by my girlfriend because yes, she loves Cap, Bucky, and Falcon. I know. I am sorry. I'm the. I know I'm in the minority that I was on Team Iron Man in
Oh,
Civil
so was I.
War. Uh, but we're still in the minority. It was like 43 to 57, and Cap won. So okay, I don't care. But I will see it, of course. I'm intrigued to what it is because, as I said, Bucky is an extremely intriguing, layered character that we haven't seen the last about. Definitely, Falcon also, like as you say, we know nothing about his backstory besides a couple of things that have been told. But well, this is a TV show, like that's a visual medium, and please show, not tell.
Had to sneak one little jab in there, huh, Case?
No.
Uh,
So yeah.
that was a Prequels reference, by the way, for all you guys at home. Sure.
Indeed. Yeah. I I will see it. I want to see it whenever it comes out. I'm not the most excited about it though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And this is one that, on the one, and our final story for the night is a story that really shouldn't do anything for me, but when I stop to think about it, I'm amazed by how bad it could possibly be. Now, last year, my number 11 favorite movie, it did switch with Get Out for the 10-11 spot. My number 11th favorite film was It, the Stephen King adaptation directed by Andy Muschietti. And Andy Muschietti, who had previously done Mama from 2014, which, that movie's stupid good. He was the reason that I loved it as much as I did. Just as much as the characters were also well portrayed and the actors did a great job. But Andy Muschietti's direction is what made that movie. And of course, It Chapter 2 is one of my 5 most anticipated films next year.
Along with Infinity War Part 2, Star Wars Episode 9.
Oh, yes. So, but he, in addition to It Chapter 2, after that, one of his films he has coming up is a re-envisioning of the H.G. Wells classic novel, The Time Machine. But where it gets interesting, at least for me, is his production partner. Because obviously he's got his sister, Barbara Muschietti, who is going to be producing it, as well as Leonardo DiCaprio, of all people. This is fascinating to me. What attachment would Leo or his production company have to a classic story like The Time Machine? I don't know. It comes across to me as him, as his production company wanting to take a chance on a now proven director who had a huge blockbuster hit, is set to have a huge blockbuster hit again next year. But remember, It Chapter 2 will only be Muschietti's 3rd full-length feature film. So, I don't know, Case. Like, is Leo's company taking a little bit too much of a risk on Muschietti, or do you think that maybe this could be a sleeper hit?
I really don't know what to think of it because I haven't seen anything of Muschietti. Anything. I don't care for horror. I don't care for it. I'm sorry, I haven't seen it, and I probably will never do that because I don't care for it. I haven't seen Mama, and I'm probably never gonna see any of his work until he makes something that is like Star Wars. To be completely honest with you.
Well, to be fair, The Time Machine is a sci-fi film, so I don't know. I mean,
well, maybe. That, of course, depends on reviews. Leo DiCaprio, I haven't said this on this show before, but I have made it public that I think Leo DiCaprio is probably the most overrated actor of all time and does not deserve his Oscar, in my personal opinion. I don't care for most of his work. My favorite roles of his are Blood Diamond and Titanic. And that's all the good acting I think he's ever done in his life, at least to warrant an Oscar. He didn't deserve it for The Revenant. He didn't deserve it for Wolf of Wall Street, and he didn't deserve it for a whole lot of other things. But that's his acting work. As in terms of producer, I have no clue what the guy does. So once again, I have no clue what to think of this. Maybe I'll see it if it has good reviews, you know? That's all I can really say
Well,
about it.
and I also presume you're not very familiar with the original novel.
No, not
Okay.
at all. So,
So I mean, well,
sorry.
well, no, and that's fine. That's fine. I actually did read it back in high school, and to give a quick sum up, a guy goes into the future, goes way back
Ghost.
to the past,
Oh,
trying
I thought he
to
went Back to the Future, but that's a different movie franchise.
yeah.
You don't care for it.
Yes, there's my other movie. I'm very much in a minority opinion on,
I,
but
I, I will say I only think the first one is great. That's
well,
it.
to be fair, so does it pretty much everyone else. So you're
Yeah.
fine. No, so guy goes to the future, then goes back to the past, and then the struggle for him is just to get back to his own time. I'd have to get a cast list, and I'd have to see a trailer
Yeah.
because I love Mouchier's directing style. I love his aesthetic, but I don't know. Either way, guys, it could be great. It could be terrible. But either way, let's finally get into the main topic for tonight: movies about musicians. Now, we're coming at this from two different, completely different perspectives here. Because, Case, like, you know, give us a quick recap of what your musical taste and whatnot.
Well, as I've said before, I usually listen to more dance type of music. For some reason, I can turn on that music, mostly because I just like the melody. I usually don't give a shit about the lyrics. This is why I can very well listen to trance, because trance lyrics 99% of the time make no fucking sense. And I don't care about it. I really don't. What I care about is if the voice and just in like the words that are said kind of have to match up with the music, but the voice is nice with the music to listen to. For me, it's essentially a listening thing because I don't really listen to the lyrics that much usually. I mean, of course, there are exceptions, and like with good songs like Queen, whatnot, I will listen to the lyrics because they're actually good lyrics. But I usually just put on trance because it just goes on. It usually is in a mix of like 2 or 3 hours, so I can just turn it on and listen to that for 2 or 3 hours while doing other stuff like game or whatnot. That is what I usually listen to. However, because I'm not a completely cultural, I don't know what you would call it, but
Pariah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not completely ignorant of other music out there. I have listened to plenty of other music, also a lot of shitty music, of course. Like here's the thing. Ryan and Chris did a Slipknot reaction. The reason I am not on that is I don't give two shits about anything that is metal. Anything. That's definitely just not my type of music. Because to me, it doesn't matter what kind of song it is. Like even if it's like Metallica or the best fucking songs to me, it's always it's just bullshit to me. So I can't listen to that crap. And that's my personal taste, my personal opinion. I know I'm wrong, especially to Chris, and he's just doing whatever the fuck he's doing. No, but like as I said, Queen is probably my favorite band because like I do listen to plenty of mainstream stuff, and I do know my fair share of music, also like older music. Um, at least I have listened to like the bigger artists, and I've seen a couple of movies about musicians.
Exactly. And yes, as I said on the first episode, I myself am a songwriter. I'm a musician. I play guitar, bass, drums. I sing. I do a little bit of piano and keyboard kind of stuff. And when I'm not doing this stuff, which is movies and art and podcasting and whatnot, I'm working on music. I literally just today I had my brother over and we were working on a couple of new tracks. You know, for an album we want to put out next year. So, yes, music is a huge part of my life. In fact, even when I was a kid, I was trying to pursue both by being in a lot of band related stuff and a lot of drama related stuff. And my parents sadly had to give me a little bit of an ultimatum. which dream they could fund me pursuing, and I chose music. Even though I could make the argument with myself that film was my first love, because the first thing I ever loved outside my family was Star Wars. But the music was also part of that. So
Music is a huge part of that.
yes, I mean, and shit, I've actually made rock covers of John Williams songs. I mean, one of my all-time favorites that I am gonna redo it someday is Anakin versus Obi-Wan. That track, just the like how.
First of all, that's just a great piece of score.
And then of course, then for me, you throw some electric guitar in there. Woo!
Yeah, for you that works.
Yes. So, yeah, big shock. I fucking love music, and of course, I love movies about musicians, whether they're biopics or original films. So, let's get into it. And you know what, Case? Just give me a film. Let's talk about it for a bit.
Okay. In my case, my films are really recent because really I only got into movies the last couple of years, so I've seen more of the last couple of years than older movies. And like when I do watch an older movie, I usually don't go for this type of film. But a movie that I loved, 2016. This is in my top, at least my top 5, maybe even top 3 of 2016 was Sing Street. It's fictional, of course. This is not about actual people. This is fiction. Sing Street is such a great feel-good movie that I can put on any time. I've seen it a lot of times already, at least over 10 times. It is so good. The music in it is so good. Like what they just do is they make music similar to the 80s type of music. Essentially they capture the nostalgia from that time and make some great new songs. Still, Drive It Like You Stole It should have been nominated for Best Original Song. I still hate that it wasn't, because that song is so fucking good. Chris, I think you love this movie as well.
Oh my God, do I love this movie. Yeah, exactly like you said. Like this, I can't remember where exactly it cracked my top 5, but it did crack my top 5 of 2016. It's such an underappreciated film, such an underrated film. Like, people, please do yourselves a favor. Go watch a feel-good movie called Sing Street. It is so beautifully shot, so beautifully acted, so beautifully written. I mean, and the songs
are great.
Yes. And I'll double down on Drive It Like You Stole It, or Riddle of the Model, Riddle of the Model.
Yeah, Riddle of the Model.
Yeah, another great tune. Holy shit! Like I can't name one bad song on from this film.
No, not at all.
So
okay, maybe the cover version of Rio that they do at the very beginning of the film.
okay,
But that's a cover. That's not an original song.
It's a cover. Exactly. So yes, here's the thing though too. Like, this movie could have been stupidly self-indulgent. It could have shoved itself so far up its own ass that it would have just not worked. But the thing is, it goes just the right amount. Just the right amount of up its own ass that it doesn't. And we end up getting a great product at the end. Yes, unlike the first movie that I'm going to bring up. Because this is a movie that I grew up on. But I have to admit, it's not that good. So, back in the 80s, we have a local Minnesota musician by the name of Prince, who, of course, known all over the world. And
I've heard of him.
Yeah, you've heard of him.
May he rest in peace.
Yes. And I'm not going to lie, I legitimately did cry when he passed away. In fact, my brother actually met him once, which, that's fucking awesome. But one of his best-known projects, and I'll argue his best album of all time, is Purple Rain. That movie. That movie is so fucking corny. It is so, like, I can't use the word stupid. That's not the right word for it. But it's so self-indulgent because it's just a film that's constructed to make Prince look like a god among men. But because the songs are so good, it almost counterbalances. So this is what I always tell people. Just listen to the soundtrack, enjoy the songs, because, shit, Let's Go Crazy, When Doves Cry, Purple Rain. Again, I actually listened to it one time shortly after my grandfather passed away about 5 years ago, and I just broke down when the guitar solo hit, because Prince actually did write it for his father, who had passed away before the film came out, and that's, oh man, that
breaks the heart.
Breaks the heart. So, yes, but I'll put it this way: if you guys want a great example of '80s cheese, or if you have a stomach for '80s cheese, check out Purple Rain.
I probably won't.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Fair enough. Just stick to liking the guy for his music. So
True.
So Kees.
Another movie. Well, once again, recent. I do have to. I'll bring up both of these. Anyway, first off, I will mention a movie that if Ryan was here, he would orgasm all over this movie because it's, I believe, in his top 5 favorite movies of all time. It's Whiplash, and I think Whiplash is a great movie.
Yes.
That's why I do want to bring it up. Definitely, well, in my opinion, Damien Chazelle's best. I haven't seen First Man, but I definitely prefer Whiplash over La La Land. I've seen Whiplash a couple of times now. Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons are so fucking good in this movie. Of course, J.K. Simmons got his Oscar for it. Well deserved. Very well. Like, holy crap, he gives the performance of a lifetime. Miles Teller, I don't know what was nominated. Like, it was a stacked year for actors, I think, yes. 2014. So that was why he wasn't nominated, because he is great in this. And what got me the most is I remember watching this for the first time, and we come to the last scene. Spoiler alert for a 4-year-old movie. Yes, I'm going to spoil this. He sits there. He's not that good, and J.K. Simmons' character walks up to him, says something like, "I know what you did. You're gonna fuck up and whatnot," and he just starts out of his own. And what is happening here? And he does it so well. And from that moment on, you're just watching like, do it good, do it good, do it good, do it good, do it good. He keeps doing it good. Okay, we're going. And I was completely in that scene. Like, oh my God. And I was just watching it until the end, and then the credits roll, and you're like, ah! That was amazing. That final scene, like, holy crap, that was amazing. While I think the rest of the movie is very good, that final scene makes it, like, everything. And I love it.
And, well, of course, as a drummer, I kind of am, like, obligated to, love it. And that's not even it. Like, like I said, J.K. absolutely deserved it. The cinematography and editing of this film are why I love it.
I think it won editing as well, right?
Yes, it did. And I'm gonna get super technical here, so big shock. But from any of the shots where it goes from overhead of Miles on the kit when, like the camera, most cameras have a hard time keeping track of drums. Because usually, the drummer is doing something, where it's stupid fast and you can't even keep up with it. But every single fill, every single beat, every single moment on these drums is captured perfectly.
The editing. This is why it won editing.
Exactly. And and why it was nominated for cinematography. And I'm trying to remember what it lost. Oh no, it lost to Birdman, which okay. You know what?
Yeah,
Not even
yeah,
mad.
fair enough.
Not even mad.
No, you can't argue that one.
Can't argue that one. No. But it was amazing watching Miles do all this, and the fact that he actually did learn how to play drums as well as he did, like that's really cool. That's really fucking cool. Plus, any of JK's outbursts,
Yes.
not quite my tempo.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
It's so wonderful. It's so over the top. It's so crazy. But
the best thing about the entire scene, like he gets mad at one guy who thinks it's him. He's just doubting himself, even though he wasn't it. Were you rushing or were you dragging? Oh no, wait. I might be thinking of something else. Anyway, he goes off on a tangent. One guy, why did you fuck up? Get out of my class. Oh, by the way, it was you. Next time, focus on it. It wasn't even the guy. And that's just amazing about that scene.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's JK's ability to command power in a scene.
It also won sound mixing.
That's right.
Well deserved.
Well deserved, because, I mean, again, and as a drummer, if I'm able to actually hear every single note that's being played, that's a fucking fantastic engineer at work.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, then is it wrong of me that I actually want to bring up Chazelle's other film for my next one?
Oh, bloody hell.
And here's the only reason why. I'm going to stick to talking strictly about the music of La La Land.
Fair enough.
Because the actual, actress and musician aspect to the relationship, who gives a shit about that?
Nope.
This movie is a love letter to jazz in its purest form. And that's why I've actually really come around on it over the last year. Like, I'll never be Scott Mantz level of, well, La La Land's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But,
I think this is passion for La La.
I love you, and I want to shake your hand someday, sir. So please don't take it personally. But this movie, it actually gave me a deeper appreciation for a genre that I previously had a very conflicted relationship with. As a drummer, I love playing jazz music, because it's so intense and there's just so many different directions you can go with it. I love listening to jazz performed live.
That is so good. That's true.
But if you put a jazz record in front of me, I'm so fucking bored. I'm so goddamn bored. It's not even possible to describe just how bored I get. Because
no, but seeing it performed by real people actually playing it, yeah, I've actually witnessed it live, and it's great. It really is.
Exactly. I mean, and then, and for the first time, I was watching pre-recorded jazz music being performed, and I was into it. But that's because I had gorgeous cinematography in front of me to look at. I had wonderful backdrops for my eye to sneak to, just get a glimpse of in the corner. Oh, that's a cool little detail I never saw before. Or I'm looking at, any of the iconic dance sequences in the film, and you think you're just listening to this song, but then the visuals just enhance the music that much more. Plus, any number that had John Legend in it, bam.
It's great.
Instantly, I was just like, more please. But, no, like, what can I say? I love La La Land. It's coming around on me just in that particular aspect as a film.
I haven't rewatched it since. I will say, uh, like the movie is well made. It has a lot of good aspects about like how film is made, and yes, it is a love letter to Hollywood and jazz music. Um, City of Stars is a great song. Definitely deserved the win. I still like that was the thing. That song stuck with me for a long time. I probably will have to rewatch it at one point. Because I have only seen it once, and I want to see what I will think of it now, 2 years later. We'll see.
I would say just watch the numbers.
No, I just want to see the full movie to see what I think of the full movie. Because the music is great. Gosling's Gosling's performance telling Emma Stone about jazz is great. um, yeah, and it's a well-made movie, so I should just probably rewatch it. But yeah, I think I'm not on the hate train because I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Like there are people who just hate the movie for the fact that everyone else loves it and they just want to hate on it. The thing is, you can't hate this movie because it's not bad. It's a good movie. It has a lot of good aspects. I just think it's overrated. All the things that it like, all the praise and Oscars that it got, I think, are not that well deserved. My personal opinion, but it is a good movie.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? In my opinion, was it even a contender for Best Picture 2016? Fuck no.
It was after the 14 nominations. Yes, it was.
But then again, though, I also don't think it was worthy of 14 nominations. But
No. Me neither. But yeah, it still got those 14 nominations.
True.
But well, that happened. Even though I also don't agree with Moonlight. But that's my personal opinion.
And I'll meet you halfway on there. I also don't think it was worthy of Best Picture, but I do think it. Yeah, I personally feel it earned the nomination, but I don't think it earned the win. So
No.
But that being said, what's your next movie, man?
Go back 1 year compared to Whiplash, directed by the Coen brothers. If you ever want to see Kylo Ren, Poe Dameron, and Justin Timberlake perform a great song, watch Inside Llewyn Davis. It is amazing. Just for the one song. I don't care what you think about the rest of the movie. The one song, Please Mr. Kennedy, sung by them. It is amazing. I loved it. And the fact that I saw it after I had seen The Force Awakens, knowing, hey, this is Poe Dameron and Kylo Ren. That is amazing. And the best thing is they're singing a song about not wanting to go into outer space. That's just amazing. I love it. No, but Inside Llewyn Davis is also a great movie. Extremely well directed, extremely well acted, most notably by Oscar Isaac. I want to say Poe. See, I know him as the character. I love Force Awakens, unless I said a little bit too much. But yeah, performed amazingly by Oscar Isaac. Everyone is great in this movie. Also, like Justin Timberlake is completely different from what you usually see from him in movies. He gives a great performance as his character that I can't remember. Adam Driver is a fucking weirdo for the 2 minutes of screen time that he has, but it's amazing. It works so well for the movie.
Outer space.
That's what he does. Like when, Justin Timberlake and Oscar Isaac are singing, and the only thing that Kylo Ren, outer space. That's what he does throughout the entire fucking song, and it's amazing. I love it so much. But it's a great movie. I should probably revisit it one time because the one time that I saw it, I wasn't completely into it, and it's a movie that definitely deserves a rewatch, especially if you know how the movie plays out. Then I do want to see it again. If you haven't seen Inside Llewyn Davis, check it out. It's probably my favorite Coen Brothers movie, even though I haven't seen the most amount of Coen Brothers movies. So.
Interesting. Okay. God. This movie is fucking gorgeous. It's haunting. It's simple, but it's powerful. And in fact, I need to pull up the soundtrack for just 2 seconds because my favorite song is surprisingly not "Please Mr. Kennedy," even though funny enough that's the one that I actually go back to the most, just because of the weirdness factor of it being Justin Timberlake, Poe Dameron, and fucking Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry guys, give me just 2 seconds to pull this up. Where is it?
Please, Mr. Kennedy. I don't want to go into outer space.
Oh, there we go. Fare Thee Well. That Dinks song.
Yeah, there are great songs in this. Like, all the songs are really good.
And they're all originals, too,
Yep.
most of them. There's like 1 or 2 covers in there, but most of them are originals. And Fare Thee Well, which is performed near the end of the film, it's really just Oscar Isaac with his guitar.
He's a great singer. I never knew that.
Me neither. I didn't expect that from him. And the scene is shot so beautifully with just the one.
Oh, the cinematography is great in this movie.
Yes, and there's just one light on him as he's on stage, and he's just plucking away on his guitar, and he's singing this song, and like it's the song ends, and you're just like, fuck, I need a drink after this, because like the kind of pain that he is giving us through this character of Llewyn Davis, it's heartbreaking. Like, there's a reason this movie is my favorite movie of 2013.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's up there for sure.
Well, plus, let's be fair. 2013 was one of the worst years of films.
Yes, it was. It doesn't have that great movies.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Frozen, obviously. 12 Years a Slave was fantastic.
I don't like that movie.
I know you don't. Then again, you just don't really understand it, which please stay that way. Don't understand why it's a great movie. Actually, I do like Into Darkness.
Yeah, it's a fun movie more than anything.
Yeah.
I'm just going to the what was nominated that year.
Yeah, what was nominated that year? Because
let me check.
Nebraska, that was really good.
American Hustle, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, Gravity, Her, Nebraska, The Wolf of Wall Street, and Philomena. Dallas Buyers Club is great.
Oh, yes.
Her is great. Wolf of Wall Street is good. Oh, there you
go. Okay. So, yeah, like we said, and Philomena was good, and Nebraska were good, but
I haven't seen those. So.
Yeah, but it was kind of a tough year, and Inside Llewyn Davis just it especially it with its surprisingly accurate portrayal of an artist who is essentially suffering for their art. Like, it portrays that type of character with the right amount of class and gravitas. Heyo.
Hello, John Roca.
Don't worry, I'm taking a shot.
So much gravitas.
Gravitas. Okay.
What's your movie?
My next movie is... Now I'm going to go back quite a ways, actually. And I'm going back to the year 19... Okay, I gotta make sure I get this right. 1987. And, of course, I'm a rock and roll fan. But I also do enjoy a lot of the classics. Whether it's stuff like Fats Domino or Chuck Berry, despite his creepy behaviors, which I'll save that for another time. But one of my all-time favorites was actually Richie Valens, the subject of the 1987 biopic La Bamba. La Bamba.
Hello, JTE. No.
Don't worry.
No.
I'm not going to sing in Spanish. Don't worry.
No, but no JTE shout out. La Bamba.
That's right. Yes. La Bamba. I love you, JT.
We do.
Dedicated art. So, Lou Diamond Phillips much like with how Rami Malek just became Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody, Lou Diamond Phillips is Richie Valens, a young 17-year-old guitar player who blew the fuck up in the mid-50s, and especially at a time when a young Latino guitar player actually getting somewhere in the world of music, that didn't happen. Because, he was too colored to be on the white records, and he was not, colored enough to be on the race records. So he should have been stuck in the middle of nowhere all by himself. But because the dude had the right amount of charm, he managed to break through and found himself being one of the most played artists on the radio in 1955 and 56, even into 57, before his untimely death, along with the Big Bopper and Buddy Holly. Which actually, quick side mention, the Buddy Holly story. You want to see Gary Busey actually give a good performance? Go watch that movie. Because, of course, you think Gary Busey, and you think about him sitting on a plate of Pilates and throwing it into a tree. Sorry, guys.
Christian Harloff does a better impression.
Yes, he does.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. But in all seriousness, back to La Bamba, especially considering that it this time, in Bohemian Rhapsody, they do occasionally actually let Rami Malek sing, but for the most part, it's still the original track. Here, it literally is just Lou Diamond Phillips singing all of Richie Valens' tunes, and he does it stupidly well. You do an A and B comparison, really, it's just slight inflection difference in their voices. So, La Bamba. I love that movie.
Nice. Okay. I'm up with another movie then.
Yes.
I actually forgot. I had a 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013. I forgot 2015. Damn it. But I'll mention it now. This is actually this is a biopic. This is based on real life stuff. Straight Outta Compton. That surprised the fuck out of, I think, everyone late summer 2015. When
yes.
I heard that it was good from reviewers. I had no idea really what it was about. Then I learned it was Dr. Dre, Eazy, whatnot back in the 80s and early 90s. And then I was like, okay, interested. Let's go see this one. And it blew me away. It was so much better than I thought a movie like that. That movie is better than it has the right to be, in my personal opinion. Because if you pitch this movie, a lot of people will think, what, really? I don't think that'll work. It worked so well. It is a really good movie, a really good portrayal of an actual true story. And I think that all the actors are really well cast as these actual real-life musicians, which was great to see, first of all. Yeah, and actually, I like rap. I actually do. Rap is also a pretty big thing here in the Netherlands. But Eminem, great rapper. And I can't think, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eazy, whatnot.
NWA,
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm forgetting about so many, and I'm trying to remember them. I can't really. But
covered.
yeah. No, but they're great, and the movie actually got me got me back into rap. I've heard rap and I liked it, but it really oh wait, yeah, it's a music genre that I actually do like. And it was really interesting to see in the movie how everything played out. Now, I will admit the third act is not as strong as the first two acts, but the first two acts are that good that I don't care that the third act is not that strong. So,
preaching to the choir there, man. I mean, yes, guys, big shock here. As someone who I literally love a little bit of everything. I love old school country. I love metal, and I love classic rock as well as jazz. But, dude, you slap on NWA or you slap on Public Enemy or you slap on Tupac, Biggie, old school Snoop, I'm in. I'm fucking in. I love old school hip hop.
Nice.
Because, yeah, it was dangerous. And it had something to say because it had every right to be pissed off. It had every right to go up to all the people who were just being assholes to these kids.
Yeah.
Simply
No,
because of the
that's
color
very true.
simply because of the color of their skin.
It's true.
So when these guys are going around and they're screaming at the top of their lungs, "Fuck the
Fuck
police!"
the police.
Yes,
It is true. And yeah, what I also think was great is that the movie, like the opening scene, is you see the police going around this neighborhood, and you see like a black kid in a car just watching the police. Like, what are you gonna do? It builds that up. You really see how the police treats them up until the point that they actually sing the song. And at that point, I think everyone in the theaters was like, yes, fuck the police because of what they are doing. It's so true. And it shows it so well.
And plus, and going back to what you were saying about the performances, I mean, like Ice Cube's son portrays his father to a T. The Corey Hawkins, the guy who played Eazy-E. Oh,
He's so good.
oh, he's so good.
And his performance is heartbreaking.
It really is, especially like when you consider everything that happened to Eazy-E. You're just like, oh, God, you feel the pain.
Yes.
You feel everything that they're going through. Like, because here's the thing. I'm a white guy from a middle-class family. Should I identify with the members of NWA? Probably not.
Probably not, but you still do.
But I still do. Because F. Gary Gray did that powerful of a job with the directing, the script was that strong, and of course, when you have some of the best of the 80s music, period, yeah, you're doing something right.
Definitely the best rap music from that time.
Well, we'll get into something else here in a second.
Yeah.
And I'll let you bring it up.
I knew that this would be a movie that you want to talk about.
Oh, of course. I mean, well, shit. It contains my favorite hip hop song of all time. But again, we'll get there in a second.
We'll get there.
So, I actually want to go back to my review of Bohemian Rhapsody for a moment. So I mentioned that my one problem was there's a subplot in the film that I had seen done way better in another film. This is that other film, also from 2015, called Love and Mercy. It's, again, a biopic about Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. So it tells two stories simultaneously. One where around the time of the Beach Boys album Pet Sounds, Brian was starting to exclude himself from the band. Because, outside the Beatles, the Beach Boys were the second hottest selling band of all time.
I know that.
And so around the time that they did Pet Sounds, which is critically their most acclaimed album to date, it was a financial bomb. Even though everybody who listened to it loved it. But that effect caused Brian to slowly start slipping into a well-publicized, drug-induced mental breakdown. Hi, Jonathan Beck. How you doing, man? And hey, congratulations on the Patreon question the other day, man.
Was Michael Campbell.
I said the other day.
Oh, the other day. Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
I was saying, if I ever see Campbell again, I'm gonna have to have a few words for him. Fucking vertigo, man. What are you gonna do? Anyway, so okay, back to Love and Mercy. So the first half of the film really just dives into how that breakdown affected him as a creative force, as a musician, as a performer. and he's played brilliantly by Paul Dano. Like, Paul Dano even learned how to sing like Brian Wilson in that era, like, to a T. Because, again, I'm impressed when the actors actually go that far into diving into the character that they learn to sing like them. They even capture their inflection. Like, that's just fucking impressive. Now, where it gets really interesting for me is while we're getting that first story, we're getting the second story of an older Brian Wilson, played by John Cusack in one of his best roles ever, where he is, trying to get back to writing great music. But his doctor, Dr. Eugene Landy, played by Paul Giamatti, who was also in Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah. Pretty good, actually, in Straight Outta Compton.
Very good in Straight Outta Compton. Dr. Landy is essentially just living off of Brian Wilson's money for him. And he's essentially a leech taking over everything that Brian Wilson used to be. And he's got such a stranglehold on Brian in every aspect, mentally, physically, psychologically. But it's Brian Wilson's future wife. Not Nancy. Shit. I'm blanking on her name, but she's played by Elizabeth Banks in the film in one of her best performances I've ever seen. I know, and she is a hit or miss actress, but when she does hit, she knocks it out of the park. And here she knocks it out of the park as she tries to help Brian get back into reality and to let go of Dr. Landy's control over him. So, what's the connection? The Landy character, that leech who is controlling every part of the creative force's life. Brian Wilson had his with Eugene Landy. Freddie Mercury had his with his personal manager, Paul, who essentially, depending on who you ask, some Queen purists might say they blame Paul for Freddie turning out to be gay and catching AIDS and whatnot. But look, the man knew he was getting into some shady shit, and that was just the consequences of all the partying Freddie Mercury did back then. So, that being said, this movie was my third favorite film of 2015.
High praise.
The only films that beat it for me were Star Wars coming back to the big screen
and Inside Out.
And the best action film since T2.
Wait, not Inside Out?
That's my number 4.
Bro.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Opinions.
Exactly. And plus, it was still my number 4, so... And sure, is Mad Max Fury Road maybe not worthy of number 1? For some people. But I met you halfway, and I said it's the best action film since T2. So. All right. Come on, man. So what you got for me for your next one?
Well, okay. This is the last one that I can mention, at least from the ones that, like, what are movies about musicians that I've actually seen, because I, lack. And this is a movie that actually you should have brought up, because it's, I know, one of your all-time favorite movies. But I've seen it, and I will bring it up. And, yeah, we were just hinting at it. 8 Mile. Eminem. It is a really fucking good movie. Eminem deserved the Oscar. And it actually surprised me. I only watched this not very long ago, a couple of years ago, for the first time. I saw it way later than I probably should have. But hey, at least I watched it. Yeah, it's a really good movie about Eminem, essentially.
Exactly. I mean,
what he went through.
It's an autobiography with a fictional backdrop.
It's a fictional backdrop, but it is very heavily inspired by his real life. And also, just one thing that I want to say. What completely surprised me is that Michael Shannon is in this movie.
Yes. A very early career of Michael Shannon, too.
Very early, yes, that's true. Um, yeah, I think it's good. I've only seen it once. I don't remember much of it right now, but I just remember. Oh, and Anthony Mackie is in this.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Early Falcon and early Zod.
Well, for one
That's
of them,
funny.
that's a compliment.
For one of them that is, and for the other one, he's had better roles.
He's had better roles.
He's a lot better roles.
So yes, and I'll keep going for just a second. Brittany Murphy as the Kim of the story, Eminem's wife, Kim. She breaks your heart in the movie.
Is this Eminem's girlfriend?
Yes.
Right.
And to be fair, the entire setting breaks your heart because that's what Detroit was at the time, and still is. Like, yes, economically it is starting to recover from a lot of the nonsense that happened in the mid 2000s, but it's still just. There's some parts of it that really represent the worst of humanity as far as industrialization and whatnot. And I'm so glad that while the movie never makes that part of the story obvious, it's always there in the background because it essentially is Richard Curtis, right? Yes, Richard Curtis, who directed that movie. Jonathan Beck, you're here now. Please correct me in the comments.
I'm going to check this right now.
Yeah, please check it. Or no, it's that guy who passed away a couple years ago. Fuck, what's his name? Oh no.
I'm looking it up. Just wait a second. Just keep talking about the movie. I'll check.
Yes. But what I really find fascinating.
You were close. It's Curtis Hanson.
Curtis Hanson. There we go. Yeah, because he passed away a couple years ago. That's right. But where this movie really gets me, especially, is in all the battle raps. Because that's where the people prove their worth in the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's not by performing the best of your job. It's not by doing all your hard work and earning your paycheck. It's, that's how you prove your social status. Is who can go the longest without choking. Who can fight the hardest in the ring. And goddamn if M doesn't bring it in this movie. Plus,
there's a reason he won an Oscar for it.
Well, not for acting, but...
No, but for a song.
But for what is my favorite hip-hop song of all time.
Lose Yourself.
Yes. Because it's a timeless message. And, yeah, big shock, I can do the whole fucking thing. But I'm not gonna, because
no, please don't.
I scared Kees the last time I rapped on one of our things, so I'm not gonna do that.
You didn't scare me. You just surprised me. It was like, Chris, just stop embarrassing yourself in me, please.
Although I do actually have a couple of rap covers laying around somewhere. I might dig them up and show everybody sometime on my personal YouTube channel.
Yeah, do that somewhere else where I'm not. Okay. Cool.
So yes, this movie is fantastic. Jonathan Peck, you actually brought up a couple good ones that I'll just give a couple quick thoughts on. The Doors, the Oliver Stone film, it's great. Ray with Jamie Foxx. He 100% earned that Oscar. Great film.
I mean, I'm still shocked by the fact that Jamie Foxx was nominated for Ray and Collateral in the same year, and he won for Ray.
Which, of the two, my favorite performance is probably him from Collateral, but the better one, I will argue, is Ray.
True. I haven't seen Ray, but I assume they're very different performances.
Very different.
Yeah, makes
because
sense.
well, Ray
And Collateral is also completely different from what he usually does.
That's also true because like Jamie Foxx is Mr. Charisma. He is like a super
Yeah,
personality.
and he has to play a nerdy taxi driver.
Yeah. So he does so brilliantly.
Mm-hmm.
So then and whereas Ray Charles, I mean, like, the dude was the godfather of soul. So he had personality to spare. But yeah, no, like seriously, Jonathan Peck, great pick. What's love have to do with it? With Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne.
Isn't it What's Love Got to Do with It?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is. Whoa, what's love got to do?
Exactly.
To do with it?
I know the damn song.
Which, again, you want to see Lawrence Fishburne do something surprising and play a kind of a douchey character? Yeah, he's hard to watch in that movie.
Watch Batman v Superman. He's a douche in that.
Play a douchey character well.
Okay, I will say Lawrence Fishburne is not the problem with Batman v Superman.
No, of course not. But his performance as Ike Turner is just like I say that with Angela Bassett as Tina Turner.
Tina Turner, jeez.
Haunting. Jonathan Peck, you actually brought up one that I was gonna talk about anyways, and I have two more, and I'll close out on these two.
Oh, sure.
So my next one I'm gonna bring up is one of my favorite films of all time. It was released in 2007. It was directed by Mr. Jake Kasdan of Lawrence Kasdan son fame. Walk hard, hard down life's rocky road. Okay.
Wait, I just thought of a movie that I can bring up.
Oh, perfect. So I'll talk about Walk Hard, then you bring up your last one, and then I'll close this out. So Walk Hard, in my opinion, is the last great spoof film. Essentially, it's poking fun at films like Walk the Line, which obviously was a Johnny Cash biopic, but then by creating this character who was part Johnny Cash, part Elvis, part part Beatles, a little bit of everybody in the Beatles, part Bob Dylan, just creating basically this super rock star who lived everybody's life from back then. And the reason it works so well is because it's making fun of everybody, but it's staying genuine while doing it. And that's something that does not happen in most spoof films these days. Nowadays, everybody just pops in to do a stupid joke that's pop culture related, and then they move on. There's nothing genuine. There's no more heart to a proper spoof film. Whereas in Walk Hard, every character is there for a quote-unquote stupid reason, but they make up for it by giving us characters that we actually care about despite their lunacy. Because, for example, the drummer in Dewey Cox's band, he's doing a new kind of drug in every scene. And what does he always say? Oh, no, Dewey. You don't want no part of this shit. And then Dewey's like, I think I do want some of this shit. Give me some of that shit. To help him drown his sorrows of being a constantly touring musician. But what I also love about this movie is that the soundtrack is composed of, they're real songs. That sure, they're done like, for example, there's a song in the movie called Guilty as Charged, which is the Dewey Cox version of Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. Walk Hard is his version of Walk the Line. There's a song called Let's Duet, which is like pretty much every Judy Carter and or June Carter and Johnny Cash duet rolled into one. Oh, and it's super innuendo-y and it's stupidly funny, but bottom line, and also one of the first performances of Jonah Hill. So just that little fun thing there. So to wrap this one up, John C. Reilly gives what, in my opinion, is still his best performance because he portrays the drama well. Every single comedic moment he hits to perfection.
Well, he's a very good comedic actor.
Exactly. And like I said, but he also carries the drama perfectly. And you have a script that is so tight. A soundtrack that will stick with you. So, if you're ever interested, Case, I would genuinely recommend this one to you.
Okay. I'll add it to my list of like 100-something movies.
I know.
That I should watch.
I'm sorry.
Maybe one day. I don't know.
Hey, Arena, do me a favor and talk to him about this one, all right? I know you're not chatting, but when you catch up on the rest of this episode.
No, she probably went to bed because it's past 4 a.m. over there.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
So, hit me. As we begin to
I just thought of this movie that actually very, very recently released, and we were supposed to do a review for a few weeks ago, but when it released, none of us got to see it in that weekend, and then a week later we were like, no, it's kind of like past now. But I did see it, and I thought it was a good movie. I liked it more than I thought I would. I don't think it's great. But it will definitely get some Oscar nominations, and it's still relevant. A Star is Born. That's a movie about musicians. Bradley Cooper wrote, directed, stars in, and produced the movie. So he could be potentially up for 4 Oscars. Of course, we'll have to wait to see what he actually gets nominated for and what he might win. I do think he'll definitely win 1 Oscar out of those 4. He won't be nominated for all 4. At least, I don't think screenplay, because that's probably the weakest part of that movie. But the performances in this movie are amazing. Like, this is probably Bradley Cooper's best role, and you really see you see in him a passion project that he wanted to do. Yes, the role is completely tailor-made for Lady Gaga, because everything that she has to do is what she is in real life, essentially. But she still brings it. She gives a hell of a fucking performance. The songs are really good, especially Shallows. Yes, that's probably just the best song, and it is great, and it's gonna get nomination for sure. It might even win. Here's the thing: it's the song that people are gonna remember from this movie. Doesn't matter what you think about any of the other songs. Shallows is the song that people will remember from this movie. They will hum it, they will sing it, they will, and it will get probably even the win. I'm not entirely sure about what else is out there in terms of original song, but the music is great. The story is good for sure. I just think that the screenplay could have been better, could have been tighter, because to me, the movie builds up to Shallows, great. Everything after Shallows kind of then doesn't do as great. For some reason, I was not as invested. There are things that the movie does where it rushes over important parts. It doesn't really show certain important parts that well. And I was like, you need to show more of that. And it still feels like a really long movie because I was just bored by some of the movie. And I'm like, so for a screenplay that rushes over things, it still manages to be boring and long, which is like, well, that's weird. So I think, everything up until Shallows is great, and the performances throughout the entire movie are great. The directing is good. Sam Elliott as the brother is great. Almost forgot to mention him. I do think it's a very good movie, and I'll get like a lot of Oscar praise. Was not my type of movie, but I still think it's good. And yeah, it's definitely, if you haven't seen it yet, rush out to see it because it's gonna get a shit ton of Oscar praise. I know it.
Exactly, and I'm actually in Case's boat quite a bit. This movie is simultaneously too long and it's too short.
Yeah,
Like, I,
because it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, and you feel that it's long.
but it's also there's also not enough drawn to the stuff that I actually want to know about. Like, I wanted to spend more time with Bradley Cooper when he went to rehab. I want to
Yep.
spend more time with Lady Gaga on her journey to becoming famous.
Hmm.
To be
Yeah,
honest,
it kind of rushes over that. Yeah.
the less pop star stuff, in my opinion, the better that this movie would have been.
Hmm.
In my opinion.
Now, to be fair, it does need to show at one point that like the pop star that she has become, but it shows a little bit too much of that. It really just needs to show like the journey, and then at one point like what it actually has become. Because I do think it's a very effective scene when she is dancing with Alec Baldwin, and you see how much she's changed from what she wanted to be initially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does focus too much a little bit on her actually performing like a pop star rather than how she got there. So yeah, it's a weird screenplay in terms of that.
And I hate to say this, but any of the scenes where Bradley Cooper is stumbling around drunk, it goes on way too long.
Yeah, way too long.
But
So, yeah, especially at the end. I'm not gonna spoil it. Especially at the end, you know what's gonna happen, and it's like, yeah, get there already, and it still goes on too long.
well, yeah, but to be fair, I'm glad that they did all that off screen. So
Yeah,
that way I
okay,
don't actually.
true. Okay, it focuses on his feet, and I was like,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. But I will say, and "Shallow" is a great song.
Oh hell yeah.
But I will say my favorite one was probably the ending one, "I'll Never Love Again." That like they first cut it between
Hmm.
Bradley playing it by himself, and then Lady
Yep.
Gaga singing it on stage. Like, oh,
No, it's good for sure.
that got me right in the feels.
Well, that was my issue essentially. I know it's supposed to hit you in the feels, and there were people crying in the theater. It did nothing to me. It also, weirdly enough, did nothing to Irina, who was probably more into this, should be more into this movie, and was looking forward to it more, and was more her type of movie rather than mine. So
That's fair.
it's weird.
So
No.
okay, I was gonna finish out my films with one of the most important movies for my life personally, but I'm gonna save it for another time.
Hmm.
I'm gonna save it for another time when we have another music conversation.
We'll
Cause
have some.
it's it's just it means too much to me. So instead, I'm gonna close out with one last biopic. That this is a classic case of a movie that got stupidly hyped up for me, but I still loved it. I still loved every second of it. 1987's Sid and Nancy, starring Gary Oldman as Sid Vicious, the bass player for the Sex Pistols, who I almost said Suicide Commandos. Nope, that's a different era of punk music. We're going back to the original era of punk, over in Britain, right where it fucking belongs. Sex Pistols are one of the greatest bands of all time. They are one of the few bands that can honestly say gave birth to an entire genre of music. Again, that's just my personal love for them, though. But you take arguably the least talented member of the band, Sid Vicious, played perfectly by Gary Oldman in what should have been his first Oscar-nominated role.
Hey, at least he got the Oscar last year.
Sure, but it was 30 years too late, man. Damn it.
Still,
Fair enough.
but at least he still got it.
Yes.
Like, he was really one of those actors that I was afraid that he would never get it, but at least he got it.
At least he finally fucking got it. So, You're right. I can't be too mad about that, but it does frustrate me a little bit that it took him so long to get that recognition that he finally fucking deserved.
To be fair, there are a lot of Oscar winners that got their Oscar way too late, and it's essentially a sorry for not giving it earlier.
Al Pacino. Al Pacino or Denzel Washington. Both of them.
Well, at least Denzel got the second as well.
Oh, that's true. Poor old Al Pacino never got his second. That's okay.
But like Martin Scorsese getting it for The Departed, not his best movie, but he got it just because, he's been around so fucking long.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's only like 33
And
years after his first film.
and like I don't care that much for Leo, but even him, like people say that he should have gotten it earlier, and he finally got it for The Revenant. Not the best performance of that year, not the best performance of his career, but he got it because the Oscars say sorry.
Yes. So, I guess, and I just like to pretend that Darkest Hour was his win for this movie.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
For pretty much everything that the dude's done. And I do say especially just for this film because, again, going back to Bohemian Rhapsody, Rami Malek became Freddie Mercury. Gary Oldman was Sid Vicious. Like, not just the mannerisms, not just the actual tone of his voice, not just the way that he sang, especially during the shooting for the music video of Sid Vicious's version of My Way, which... Oh! One of the funniest covers I've ever heard in my life. Let me tell you what, man. But and it's not just him that makes the movie. I'm blanking on the name of the actress who played Nancy. Give me 2 seconds to pull this up. Yep.
Heather Langenkamp? Oh no, wait, that's a different Nancy.
Claire Webb. Claire Webb. Thank you, Claire Webb. God. Fantastic. You are, because here's, essentially, this is the entire film. You are watching two lovebirds spiral into the worst kind of rabbit hole of drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And when I say drugs, I mean drugs. Everything on the planet, these two were trying to just get high and get, and just forget about everything going on in their life. But because, he was the bass player of the Sex Pistols, he could afford it. And sadly, ultimately, it did cost him his life because they both died when they were in their, mid-20s. So it truly is just a true... I'm about to say this in the worst possible way. This is one of the most pretentious tragedies I've ever seen in my life. But because of the fact that it's performed, edited, shot, directed, and composed for so well, you forget about that. And you're just watching a tragic film about two people who had no choice but to fall as far as they did. And yeah, spoiler alert, they both died in drug-related overdoses.
Wow, that reminds me of something. Oh, no, wait, that wasn't drugs, that was alcohol. Never mind.
Fair enough. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. And like I said with dumb action movies, I'm definitely gonna want to come back to this topic. And I think next time I'm gonna see if I can get my brother and maybe a couple of my other old band buddies to.
If we can just get more people on, because it's just us two.
Exactly. And it might be it'll be a hectic conversation, that's for sure, but it'll definitely be a fun one. So, Kees, where can the good folks find you online?
You can find me hosting our Schmodown reaction, which is about to go up in a few hours, I assume.
Yes.
You can find me on the Star Wars Resistance recap that we do every week on Mondays, usually. So this Monday again for the next episode. Hopefully, we'll be able to see the episode this time on time because
Please.
we were almost too late last week. And of course, Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter and Kees Cornelisse on Facebook. If you figure out how to spell that.
I think we can start to figure it out by now. I mean, we see
I
we see your name fairly often, but sometimes people get that get the letters just a little bit mixed up.
Well, it's a Dutch name. It can be difficult for people who aren't Dutch.
That's true. And as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, at Skywalker Dohmen. You guys can follow this very channel dedicated to art on Twitter, Instagram, at D2A Channel. Please like our page on Facebook. And like Kay said, stay tuned for the Schmodown reaction, Resistance recap, future reactions for various stuff.
Question mark, question mark, question mark?
Maybe. And, of course, every Friday right here at 7:30, hosting the Who Cares Anyway podcast. And
7:30 Central.
Central.
Let that be clear.
Yes. Let's
Time zones are a thing.
Yes, they are. For better or for worse. So, thank you for tuning in, everybody, and we will see you next time. As always, everybody has something that they're passionate about. And as long as you care, and you can tell us why you care, we'll care as well. And
but who cares anyway?
Take care.